market for a three-row SUV, you've got lots of options. Behind me here is the 2026 Hyundai Palisade. It's a really great SUV. It's comfortable, it's easy to use, it's pretty big, it's got lots of space, but so do all the other three-row SUVs in this market. So what makes the Palisade stand out from all the rest? Let's take a closer look. So one of the things that I like about the Hyundai Palisade is that there are a bunch of options in this lineup. So technically there is a little bit of something for everyone being those in the three-row market for something like this. The Palisade starts at around $53,000 before freight and PDI and taxes. That's for the base trim. We are bumped up one higher into the XRT Pro, which is available for 2026. It's their sort of off-road focused SUV, and what makes this one different is there are features that make it a little bit more adventuresome than the rest of the Palisade lineup, such as all-terrain tires, an extra inch of ground clearance. It also comes with those orange recovery hooks in the front and in the back, a standard tow hitch, and more. As well, if you get inside the car and go to the home screen, there is an option to click off-road, and it brings up a whole screen that helps you see exactly what you're doing. So if you are going somewhere out back, a little more on the trails, less local roads, then you can see everything you've got right up here. So, you know, your terrain mode, your tire pressure stuff, all of that is right on the screen there. So that's kind of cool if that's what you want. Personally, I don't think I would choose this XRT trim. If not the base trim, I'd bump up a little bit higher, because there are also hybrid options for 2026. The Palisade goes all the way up to the calligraphy, as well as the NHL edition that is almost $70,000. That's a lot for a mainstream three-row SUV when you can get a couple things in that range in the luxury brand segment. So bumping back down, I would maybe come back down to one of those calligraphy trims that are hybrid as well, so you'll get a little bit better fuel efficiency. Before we talk about fuel efficiency, let's talk about the different options as well in the lineup for engine choices. So here in the base, as well as the XRT Pro, as well as one of the calligraphy trims, you're getting a 3.5 liter V6. In here it makes 287 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. All of the Palisades in the lineup are all-wheel drive, which is great for Canadian weather. But aside from that, if you're looking to save money on fuel, you'll have to bump up to those hybrid trims. The hybrid with 7 passengers as well as 8 passengers starts at $60,500. The hybrid trims have a 2.5 liter i4 and a 67 kilowatt motor. It makes 329 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque. Let's talk about the drive for a second. I find this drive to be pretty smooth. That said, it's on all-terrain tires here. Sometimes those give you a little bit more wind noise and sort of outside noise. I haven't noticed it in here, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't really have anything to test it against. I would imagine that the calligraphy trims have a bit of a smoother drive and maybe a bit quieter. However, I drive a 2014 Honda Odyssey that has a ton of noise, so this is actually pretty quiet to me. Add that in with all of the noise from the kids, and yeah, this one is pretty peaceful, especially when I'm by myself driving. Fuel efficiency in here, it's pretty high. The numbers I'm getting are pretty high. This is not the hybrid trim. This is also on all-terrain tires, so keep that in mind. So in this XRT Pro, fuel economy is rated at 12.7 liters per 100 kilometers. And then we're looking at 10.6 on the highway and 14.3 in the city. 14.3 is pretty high. Yes, this is a fairly big SUV, 3 rows, pretty heavy, but I don't know, 14.3 is, I gotta say, that's pretty high. I wish it were less, but if you, like me, also wish it were less, you'll have to bump up to $60,000 to get in the hybrid trims, and then you can bump down your fuel averages to 8.1. That's a whole lot better. So keep in mind, while getting a hybrid will bump you down to an average of around 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers, if you're in the market for a 3-row, you might also want to consider something like a minivan. I know a minivan isn't for everyone, I totally understand that, but a Kia Carnival will get you down into the 7s if you want to save a little bit more on fuel, and their hybrids come in at less than $60,000, so keep that in mind. But do you, whatever makes you happy. I assume if you're looking for a 3-row SUV, you've got more than a few people that you likely chauffeur around. For me, it's 3 kids. And in our time with this XRT Pro trim, my 3 kids have gotten used to it. They love when there's a 3rd row because then they aren't sitting right beside each other, squished up. The Palisade also comes as an 8-passenger seating, but then you've got that bench row in the 2nd row. So if you don't mind that, then that's a good option. Or if you don't often use that 3rd row, then at least you've got the extra seat in the 2nd row. For us, we always have that 3rd row in use, and there's quite a bit of legroom back there, even for adults. Maybe not a very long trip, but if you need to get taller people back there, they will fit. Right now, my kids fit perfectly. They have no issues getting back there. My only slightest issue with the interior in here is that 2nd row, those captain's chairs are actually quite heavy. So when they're pushed down, to get them back up, my youngest kids cannot get them back up on their own. They need a little bit of assistance, but it is what it is. Also heavy are the doors. My youngest also can't close this door by herself because it is just super heavy, and when she tries to close it, it's not closed properly. And we're not in a price point where you get those like automatic closing doors that I love so much, but that's for another day, another car. Let's talk about cargo space. Behind the 3rd row, there's not a whole lot of space, but that's pretty normal when it comes to 3-row SUVs. There is usable space, however, just above 500 liters is going to get you a lot of stackable space. So if you're doing a big haul of groceries, Costco, if you've got a stroller that you need to fit in there, it might not fit. So I think that's a great thing to test, especially if you know you're going to be using that 3rd row. If you fold that 3rd row down, you've got a ton of cargo space. It opens it up so much. So, you know, it really depends on how you're using these 3 rows, but there is usable space back there. So it's got the 60-40 seating. So you can also fold one side down and you still got some room to carry some passengers back there if needed. If not, then fold them both down and you've got a ton of cargo space. Let's move up to the front. One of the things that for some reason I can't get used to is the driver's seat in the Palisade. While everything is comfy, it's a smooth ride, the seats themselves are comfy, but I can't quite find the right position in this driver's seat for me. And I think that's more of a me problem. But again, that's why it's so important to go and test drive these vehicles, because you never know what you're gonna like and not like. And for me, I do really like the Palisade, but that's just the one thing that would hold me back. Whereas the Kia Telluride, which is the Palisade's cousin, I completely enjoy. It's one of my favorite 3-row SUVs, and I would probably choose it over the Palisade, but I mean, they're both really, really awesome vehicles, and I can see why people would choose either of them. In this segment now, there are also lots of 3-row SUVs that are equally as good and do everything that the Palisade can do. Pricing wise though, they're all roughly around the same price until you get down to the hybrids and all that sort of stuff. So there are vehicles like the Honda Pilot and Toyota Highlander and Grand Highlander, and for fans who are loyal to those brands, you're gonna probably stick with those. But there's also like the Volkswagen Atlas, like I said, there's a Kia Telluride. Almost all of the brands have one of these big 3-row SUVs in their lineup. And there are so many options for people who are looking in this segment that you are really gonna have to test it out. If it comes down to brands, I don't know. Do you like Hyundai? Do you like Kia? Are you a Honda fan? Are you a Toyota fan? You've got tons of things to play around with. You also have to know whether you are willing to veer from certain technological aspects. So Kias and Hyundais tend to have a lot of great value. They add a lot of technology into their lineups from the very beginning. So in here, let's talk about the infotainment center. Super easy to use, extremely easy to use. So I love that there's a mix of the touchscreen, actual physical buttons down here, and then some more buttons at the bottom here that are also touch, but specifically for climate controls. One of the things that I don't like that the new Kias are doing is that flip switch where you have some buttons here, but you need to go to something else to flip to see other buttons. Hyundai hasn't done that so far, and I really appreciate that because it's an added distraction. Everything is super simple in here and very intuitive. Up on the screen here, it's really easy to wirelessly connect to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Whatever you need to do, swipe over. Once you get into Android Auto, everything is right here. Everything is simple to use. Play your music, do whatever. Android Auto is basically like using your phone. Same with Apple CarPlay. And then if you need to get back into your home screen, you don't need to dig around for options there because there are these buttons right here. Just click your home button and you're back to the main screen. The one thing that I do not like in here is the gear shifter being a little stock right behind the steering wheel. I remember complaining about, I believe it was buttons last time or something, but it wasn't the traditional one in the center console. Yes, this frees up a ton of space for this whole center console area, but this one is sort of hidden behind the steering wheel. So if you park with your wheels slightly turned, then you've got to like stick your hand under the steering wheel to get to that little stalk to turn the car on. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan, but also it's definitely far from being a deal breaker. The Palisade is quite large. From the outside, I would say it doesn't look as large as sort of those massive SUVs like, you know, the Suburban Tahoe kind of SUVs, but it is rather large. That said, for something so big, a lot of times I tend to get into the driver's seat and think that they drive a little bit smaller. This one does not. I feel like it actually drives bigger than it is. And generally that would be a problem. However, there are great sensors and a great backup camera in here that makes it so easy to park for being such a big vehicle. Once you shift into reverse, the backup camera helps so much. So I mean, being big is not really a problem here. The center console has this pass-through down here for, I guess, like a purse or what have you. Personally, I'm not really sure why brands have taken to doing that. I think it's actually more of a safety issue. If something falls, it's falling right into this well here where your feet are on the gas pedals, and anything obstructing that would be dangerous. I'm not really sure why that's allowed, but there is one in here if that's where you want to put your purse or whatever else you need to fit down there. There's also a huge center console here, and then there's also another one that sort of flips out from behind. So your second row passengers have access to a little bit of extra storage space if they want to hide, I don't know, candy, whatever kids hide back there. I don't know what my kids are hiding back there right now. The Palisade is a really great vehicle. It just is up against so much competition. So the mid-cycle refresh for the 2026 Hyundai Palisade does some good things for it. It looks a little bit better, a little bit meaner, but it's got some really good upgrades inside of it. However, even though it's got all that stuff, I can't bring myself to absolutely love the Hyundai Palisade. I'm not 100% sure about what exactly I don't like about it. Again, it's easy to use, it's super comfortable, there's lots of space. I wish there was slightly more cargo space, but you can't really get away from that in a 3-row SUV. If you're in the market for a 3-row SUV, it should definitely be close to the top of your list. I think you should test drive it. I think you should get out there and test drive all the other ones because there are so many in this segment. For Driving.ca, I'm Renita Narain. For more SUV news and reviews, check us out online or on social media.